I'm nervous. Are you nervous?
Just a tad nervous, yes.
A little bit nervous? Oh, good. We're both nervous. I'm going to tell a story or tell you about something that has to do with the darker side of gaming. You kind of just
Okay.
get to listen, react, we'll talk about it a little bit, and that's it. That'll be the episode.
Yep, sounds good to me.
Okay. Also, I don't have a chair yet. So I moved, I'm unpacked. There's my cat.
Yeah, I was about to say, I like you have the bed set up, everything. Even, is that a projector?
Yeah, yep, instead of a TV.
Oh, damn. Okay.
But I I don't have a chair yet, so
Not yet.
I'm on
It's
my
okay.
knees.
It's okay. It's okay. You're gonna get a Secret Labs gaming chair in pink.
Actually, I want a white gaming chair, and I think that my family's getting it for me for my birthday.
Okay. Oh, January. Am I allowed to dox? No, I'm joking.
I don't care. I think most people know my birthday. I never shut up about it.
Yeah, January 23rd.
Yeah, one, two, three.
Mhm.
All right. So tell people about yourself.
So my name is Anthony, aka Hellcatted on Twitch. I've changed my name not a half dozen times, but I've been streaming on Twitch since August of 2015. So I was there when they first introduced the Twitch affiliate program in April of 2017, and I've been streaming mainly Call of Duty, Siege. It's kind of progressed to Dead by Daylight, and now I'm kind of in a transition period of I don't know what to stream, but I've met tons of amazing people, Dally being one of them also. Trying to carve out my little niche in the online gaming space.
Yeah, I mean, more into variety, right? That's not a bad
Hmm.
thing,
That's true.
for sure. So, what I'm going to be telling you about today is
Okay.
Polybius. Have you ever heard of that?
I have not heard of this, no.
Okay, so there's an urban legend of an arcade game called Polybius. It was
Okay.
supposedly the most dangerous game to ever exist. There's a ton
Okay.
of stories about what it is, what happened, etc. So, to start off, I'm just going to give you a hypothetical situation of how an encounter with Polybius might have gone.
Okay.
So, picture this. It's the early 80s. You're a teenager, your group of friends stop by your house to ask you to join them at the arcade. It's a crisp fall day, so you grab your jacket, hop on your bicycle, and head out. When you arrive, you all sort of scatter. You walk past the beeping and flashing of the games like Pac Man and Asteroids with their brightly decorated cabinets, and you notice a new game. Its cabinet is plain black with only one thing written on it: Polybius. The screen glows before you, and curiosity gets you to press start. Suddenly, patterns and shapes are dancing all about the screen, pulling you in and engaging you to continue playing. You don't know how much time has passed, you can't stop, in fact, you can't move. You feel hot and your stomach is burning with nausea. The room starts to spin as sweat beads on your forehead, and out of the corner of your eye, you notice men dressed in all black intently watching your predicament. All the lights become too bright as a migraine takes hold and you begin to drool as the contents of your stomach work their way up your throat. You turn away from the ominous men and sprint out of the arcade for relief. You make it to the sidewalk just in time to avoid adding stains to the carpet inside. You look behind yourself, back at the arcade, through the doors at the game. Other kids who are gawking at you follow your stare, and all watch as the mysterious men go up to the game, seemingly collecting something. A shiver runs down your spine, and you grab your bike to go home. You hope you never see Polybius again, and you never do. No one ever does. So where are you right now?
Holy shit.
What's like I'm out of breath. What's your like thoughts so far before I start explaining more and giving sense to this?
The men being there, it's like some kind of, for me, it's like a sinister thing, because, like, what are they doing in there in the first place? Two, were they collecting? And three, nobody, well, I mean, I guess the people noticed when was running out, but I mean, like, nobody seemed to notice how much time I did spend playing that one game.
Yeah,
I
just
mean, people come and go, they do their own thing, but
yeah, it was more sort of emphasizing that it was a really addictive game. Like you
addictive game. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. So, essentially, Polybius was a game that supposedly, again, this is an urban legend. So,
Okay.
whether any of this is real, I don't know. I'm gonna dive a little bit into all the elements of this urban legend, debunk some of it, go into where there's more truth, etc. So essentially, it supposedly started to show up in arcades of Portland, Oregon sometime between 1979 and 1981. Different sources said different things, but it was in that time range. Rumors have it that this game suddenly appeared in arcades in a plain black cabinet, had an extremely addictive gameplay. However, when anyone would play it, they would also experience strange side effects, such as nausea, catatonia, migraines, memory loss, seizures, etc.
Okay.
Yeah. So it wasn't just that it was super addicting, it was making people sick. And that's what the whole scene was, with like nausea, vomiting, migraine, running out of there. So now it's weird enough. It's a game that makes you sick, right? Additionally strange were the rumors that men in all black would be hovering near the machine, watching and occasionally seeming to collect data from it. So now it's this game that just shows up, and it's in, you know how usually arcade games, they have like colorful cabinets with the pictures of the characters all on the side and stuff. So this one's in a plain black cabinet, nothing going on with it but the name of the game. You play it, it's super addictive, but it makes you really sick. In worst case, seizures. And then there's these men that look like some sort of officials in all black or some sort of uniform monitoring the machine and collecting data from it. So that's what they were collecting in that hypothetical situation, was data from the machine.
Okay.
So, as rumors of this strange machine spread, so did speculation about what it was and who the men in all black were. Many came to the conclusion that this game was part of the MK Ultra project, that it was a test at mind control, and that the men were government workers and what they were collecting was data. If you don't know, MK Ultra was a project within the CIA during the early Cold War period, so 1950s until early 1960s. Due to fears that communists had developed techniques of mind control, MK Ultra was an attempt at finding a drug that could be weaponized in the same way. The program was led by a chemist named Sidney Gottlieb. I didn't look up how to pronounce that name. I'm pretty sure.
Right. It sounded good to me.
I should have just kept going, been confident with it. Who used techniques such as electroshock, high doses of LSD, and other forms of psychological torture in attempt to master human mind control. So this is something that actually happened. MK Ultra was a project that actually happened. His subjects were sometimes unwilling American prisoners in detention centers in Japan, Germany, and the Philippines.
Oh, this makes a lot of sense. Okay.
Yeah. And essentially, it's government brainwashing. So the project was trying to do two things: wipe the mind and fill it back up with new information. Gottlieb did a lot of the first part, but didn't make a whole lot of progress on the second part. And due to the top secret nature of the project, we don't know how many people he killed or permanently damaged, but there were a lot.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So also due to the top secret nature of the project, all the left out information led to rumors and conspiracy theories and fear of government brainwashing even decades later. Again, this project ended in the 60s, and we have the Polybius conspiracy running rampant in the 80s. So
that's true. Yeah, even 20 years later. So
I mean, even now I hear people I don't know, it's like a thing. Government brainwashing. It's come up at some point in conversation, or it's a theme in a movie. So MK Ultra, real project, ended in the 60s. People fear it even today. And so a lot of people thought Polybius was part of the MK Ultra project, and that the game was trying to brainwash people. It was CIA agents monitoring it and collecting data of how successful it was at brainwashing, or that's why it was so addicting to play, what have you. Another interesting bit, do you know who Polybius was? So it's the name of the game, but it's named after a person. The game wasn't necessarily named after a person, but there's a person in history that has the name Polybius. Do you know who it is?
To me, it sounds something similar to in Greek, like a Greek name in origin. That would be my best guess.
Yeah, you're right. It was a Greek historian.
Okay.
So, ironically, Polybius was a Greek historian who was known for teaching truth and teaching his students that the truth was the most important above all. So, one of the things, a quote from one of his writings, was a historian should not try to astonish its readers by sensationalism. It is the truth, the object to benefit the student. So, it's a little bit ironic that an entire conspiracy theory is like named after him.
Yeah,
Because he was
that's
like, only tell the truth. If you don't know it happened, don't spread it. And then there's the Polybius conspiracy theory about a game called Polybius. So just an interesting little bit of irony. There was a few sources were really inconsistent, mostly because this is urban legend, so it's hard to find things that say the same things. But in one source, it said that on the start screen there was something written in Greek, and it like roughly translated to something along the lines of brainwashing.
oh okay.
Again, it could just, once people hear things, they want to sensationalize it. They want it to sound exciting. So it's like every time the story gets passed on, it gets like more.
Altered a little bit.
Yeah, exactly.
Some
Which
parts
is
are taken
what
out.
the historian Polybius was like totally against. He was like, don't do that. So, let's see. So, well, in honor of the real Polybius, let's try to debunk some of the myth. I'm not saying with full certainty that Polybius, the game, never existed. I just want to, in honor of the truth, debunk some of the sensationalism. So,
Okay.
first is the symptoms. Things like the nausea, dizziness, migraine have occurred in other instances of extended gameplay. So it's not something that's unique to this supposed Polybius game. There's plenty of people who have spent way too much time on bright screens, even office workers, not just video game, like gamers and stuff. Like any extended screen time can cause dizziness, can cause migraines, nausea, like VR systems, anything that simulates movement can cause motion sickness. So that whole, like, it made people sick, any game could really make people sick, especially if you have something like epilepsy. It's been known that flashing lights can trigger a seizure. So it's not necessarily unique that a game could cause this.
Yeah, and we're so used to seeing those warnings now being commonplace if it's something that is going to be put in front of a gamer or whatever screen we're expecting.
Yeah, so this quality that apparently made Polybius so unique isn't so strange. It's something that could happen to an office worker in the wrong conditions. So next is the black cabinet, the mysterious black cabinet with no decorations on it, no graphics, what have you. When there was a new game, like a beta of a game, and there was a small release for it, it would often be in a black cabinet. They wouldn't print the decorations and the graphics on it yet until they did widespread release. So that's another thing where it's like, oh, Polybius, the black cabinet, but a few different sources said a lot, not all, but a lot of beta games came in a plain cabinet. So that's also not super unique to this story. Another thing, not necessarily unique to this game. Police and such were around arcades, like, pretty frequently due to a lot of criminal activity. It was a place where a lot of people gathered, a lot of people would meet up, and sometimes illegal things would occur there. And so it wasn't uncommon for there to be a police sting or for police to just sort of monitor the area anyway. Rumors get out of hand as it is. Suddenly it goes from a police officer standing in an arcade to a mysterious man in uniform to a guy in all black. It's something that could have easily evolved from just police presence. So again, that's something that's not specific to Polybius. It's something that could have just been a normal, not normal, but a typical situation in an arcade at the time.
Yeah, I can definitely see that.
Yeah. Also, no game with the name Polybius had ever been copyrighted.
Ever in the history.
So until recently, now based on the game, I'll talk more about it later. There's been some games based on it, but at the time of this, in the 80s, there was no game copyrighted with the name Polybius. So that also kind of debunks whether it existed. And no one seems to really know what the gameplay was. So it's this mysterious gameplay that made people sick, what have you. But how did these people play, have these side effects, and explain they had these side effects, but then can't say what they played? You could argue that it was the memory loss, because apparently the game could cause memory loss too, but it's like there's so much info about how this game was so ominous and scary, but not any real context about the game itself.
Now, I'm curious as to, was it noted whether short-term memory loss based on, for example, that day, or is it long-term memory loss,
I couldn't
or
find
it didn't really?
specifics. It
Okay.
really, memory loss was just one of the things that would be listed. It was in the different articles and videos and such that I saw about this. They would list the symptoms, and memory loss would be one of them. They didn't delve into what kind of memory loss, how long it
Okay.
lasted, if it was short term, long term, etc.
Okay.
Now, some proof of its existence. So, all these things are like, well, was it really ever a game? People get sick from games anyway, black cabinets or any beta. But some proof of its existence, I say proof because this is just someone who is making a claim. This could be someone that, and I'm not accusing this person of lying, but there's no proof to the story really either. When he was giving names of stuff and what have you, he was avoiding giving names of companies and names of whatever, with the claim that he didn't want to be sued for anything. That could
Which
also
makes
be a
sense.
scapegoat to lie about it. Again, not accusing this guy of lying, just saying it's not necessarily proof, but it is someone who claims to have worked on Polybius. So it's a man named Stephen Roach. I might be saying all these names wrong. Apologies, just like in advance. I'm sure someone's going to yell at me, but I'm doing my best. So Stephen Roach, in 2006, claimed to be a designer for Polybius. He's from the Czech Republic, and he claims his team was approached around 1980 by an American company to develop an arcade game with a puzzle element. They were given a significant commission to create an original game that would stand out in the saturated market. Upon completion, there was a limited release in Portland, Oregon, but after reports of side effects from the game, including an epileptic seizure of a 13-year-old boy in the Lloyd district, the game was pulled. Roach says he heard from a friend years later about the urban legend that emerged about the game, which he called amusing, but then felt that the attempts to recreate the game later on were sort of a slap in the face to the work that his team originally did. Roach, so the only description I could find anywhere of the gameplay was in this interview with Roach. It was this whole interview someone had done with him, and he described it as centered around a moon base with 6 sets of different aliens sent out from the moon base needing to be destroyed. So it was one of the games where things come out in waves, and every wave you destroy, another one comes. So the longer you play the game, the more chaotic it becomes and the more difficult it becomes. All the while, what made it unique is that there was a puzzle element. He didn't delve too much into the puzzle element, but it wasn't just about destroying the wave. You had to solve the puzzle too, which made it more engaging, made you want to play longer, and made it a little bit more addictive. So overall, Roach said the goal of the game was to create an engaging atmosphere and a playable challenge that kept people going with it. So if Polybius was real, and if Roach really was a developer for this game, it was likely like the most realistic situation of this whole urban legend is that it was a beta game released on a small scale. It may have, due to its graphics, caused some nausea and even seizures, was pulled because of this, and never released for mass production. And from there, rumors ran wild.
Yeah, I could. There, but yeah, I can see that. And there's both sides of the coin. Now, like I'm curious as to what was being collected. If that's if now
If
you
there
see,
was,
like, if there was anything in that manner being monitored.
well, that's the thing is, okay, so let's say, so my guess, I think that
Okay.
Polybius could have been real. I kind of believe Roach. I think Roach is telling the truth that
Okay.
he worked on a game. It
Mm-hmm.
was an addictive puzzle game with really cool graphics for its time. They
Mm-hmm.
released it on a small scale. A kid had a seizure because of these graphics. They pulled it, probably to avoid lawsuit, and then it was just never released. And I think what happened is kids probably saw someone play this new game in a black cabinet and they had a seizure, and then there were probably like police and officials and uniformed people that like dropped in and removed the game. Maybe there were people in all black suits that like stopped by and removed the game because the company was just trying to pull it as quickly as they could. And from there they were like, yeah, did you hear that kid like had a seizure? And then this guy in all black came and took the machine, was collecting data. You know what I mean? So that's what I think.
To grow them, yeah. Okay.
I think that's what actually happened. Now, if we're going to say
Okay.
the urban legend that this was some sort of MK Ultra project, where they were attempting mind control through a game.
Mm-hmm.
I would say the data they were collecting would have to be something like, I don't know, how long they could get someone to play the game, like how addictive it was. I would say the sickness would be just a side effect. I don't know if it would ever be intended, like if this was an MK Ultra project, I don't think it would be intended to cause sickness. Kind of the way that when they did the LSD and the electroshock therapy or not electroshock, I don't think it was therapy. Anyway, used the psychological torture to mind control people. I don't think their intentions was torture, but I don't think their intention was to harm. Their intention was just to control. So if this game was part of MK Ultra, I don't think the intention was to cause the side effects. I think the intentions would just be control, and the side effects were truly just side effects.
Okay, that's a really good perspective. Yeah.
If
But we're speculating if.
yeah, oh yeah, this is all speculation. Personally, I think the game could have existed, but it was just, it made people sick. The graphics were too busy, and they pulled it quick before a lawsuit happened. And then it was hush hush, nobody knows about it. There's no copyright because the company was avoiding a lawsuit.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah. But pretty cool. Like, I mean, this blew up. It's still part of, like, a lot of people haven't heard about it, but at the same time, there's, like, Easter eggs in different shows and movies. The Simpsons, actually, in an episode in the background of an arcade, there was a Polybius cabinet.
Okay.
And then in the show Loki, like, the spin-off from the Avengers and stuff, in 2021, there was a cameo of Polybius there, too. So it's been in modern media. People still sort of talk about it. The urban legend isn't dead. But it's just, yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, I'm thank you for inform me about this, because I literally had no.
Oh, you
I was
could
not
go
aware
into
of it.
such a rabbit hole. And then I started to get into the MK Ultra rabbit hole. I had to stop myself because it went nuts. But you had asked earlier, like, oh, there's no copyright for it. So the only copyrights there are now, it inspired 2 real video games. So in 2007, Rogue Synapse created a game based on the rumored gameplay. So the goal for them was remaking Polybius, like of what they heard, what the gameplay was. They tried to create a game with that gameplay. And then in 2017, Llamasoft released their version for a PS4, just using the urban legend as inspiration. They didn't have an intention of recreating the gameplay. They just wanted to follow in the urban legend. But,
Okay.
yeah, so there are games you can play, Polybius, but it's not Polybius. It's companies recreating it because of the hype from the urban legend.
Okay, so that's their own little spin on it, but yeah, they're not trying to replicate. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting.
And that's it. That's all I got for you.
Now I want to look up the MK Ultra project to see exactly.
You should. So people are going to be like, are you this stupid? But yes, I am. I didn't know it was real. I always thought that, like, the government brainwashing thing was always just pure conspiracy. I didn't realize that MK Ultra was an actual CIA project, and they weren't, like, open about it, but they were like, yeah, like, we heard that the communists were successful, so we wanted to keep up. Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that.
And well, do you want to just give another plug, drop your socials, everything?
Well, my name is Hellcatted on Twitch. Same thing for TikTok as well as Twitter. And we are live 3 times a week. Also, not on Kick yet. But yeah, thank you, Dally, for giving me the opportunity to be on the first podcast. And
Yeah, the first episode.
very thank you. It was very informative for me, and now I want to do research on some of the. Not that I want to do anything with mind control, but I mean it's interesting.
I want to learn mind control.
And thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, and I'll just plug my own socials. You can follow me at It's Dolly Nova on TikTok, Instagram. Follow me on Twitch and on Kick, Dolly Nova. And yeah, stay tuned for more episodes. I'll be doing more stuff like this. So Grim Gaming, we're doing the dark side of gaming. So everything from gaming urban legends to true crime that happened because of games, or I'll cover stories that games were based on. the negative health effects of gaming, just all things dark, spooky, or grim. That's it.